A little way ahead and to his left, he saw suddenly, issuing from a black hole of a shadow under the cliff, the most loathly shape that he had ever beheld. Terrible beyond the horror of an evil dream. Most like a spider she was, but huger than the greatest hunting beasts, and more terrible than they because of the evil purpose in her remorseless eyes. Those same eyes that he had sought, daunted and defeated, when they were lit with a fell light again, clustering in her out head thrust. Great horns she had, and behind her short stalk-like neck was a huge swollen body. A vast bloated bag swaying and sagging between her legs. Its great bulk was blacked, blotched with livid marks, but the belly underneath was pale and luminous and gave forth a stench. Her legs were bent with a great hobbled joints high above her back, and hairs that stuck out like steel spines. And at each leg there was a claw. As soon as she had squeezed her soft, squelching body and its folded limbs out of the upper exit from her lair, she moved with a horrible speed, now running her creaking legs, now making a sudden bound. Welcome ratbags to a special video today taking a look at the brand new Broodmother Cave on Valguero. Guys, this is going to be coming to Xbox and PS4. I'm playing it on the PC, obviously, and this is one of the new features, mechanics in the game. No longer just a simple boss or a boss that you have to go and get artifacts for. The Broodmother is, in fact, roaming around the open world. Well, she's in her spider lair, as you can see. Now, this cave is actually one of the hardest I think you're ever going to play. I know Ragnarok's got some pretty tough ones, but this has got the biggest collection of spiders, arachnids, bats, you name it. It's all here, and it's so dark, guys. I spent so long running around these caves trying to find the artifacts. There's 2 artifacts in this cave. I'm going to give you a breakdown exactly where they are as well. So I hope you enjoyed my Lord of the Rings Tolkien description of Shelob, the huge spider, which I really do think the Broodmother took heavy influence from. Don't forget to like this video. I'm going to give you the breakdown on the Broodmother, the health, and maybe if a Deinonychus can latch onto it. Also, if you're joining my PC servers, I've got them open at the moment. Come join Discord and ask how. And if you're renting your own servers, whatever platform it is, don't forget to use my code, use my link in the description box, and you can get 10% off. So we obviously start with the location of the Broodmother lair. It is in the Redwoods biome, and you can see this landmark. I've marked this out for you guys. We're going to go inland a little bit, but I did want to show you these coordinates, just in case you're really having trouble. It is pretty hidden. There you go, it's on the map there. You'll see a tree log falling nearly into the water. Follow that a little bit, keep on this direction that I'm going and just head through the trees. Obviously, if you're doing it from way above the trees, you'll be able to see. But if you're on land dinos, which might be advised as well, you need to go over these little rises here and just keep going in this direction, basically going over. It's really embedded. The forest is absolutely huge and it's really thick, much thicker than any of the other forests I think I've ever played on the maps. But keep going this way. You can see the paraffinium in front of me. We're just going to skew slightly over these rocks, just getting the bearings. You can go around it, obviously. You can go into the cave from different entrances. It's literally one that you can just drop into, but there are a couple walkways. You can see the spider webs there now, so we're trying to find the best location to start from. Exact coordinates are 72.8 and 40.9 for one entrance, and you can just peer down. Now, there's a few issues. When I came here the first time, the Broodmother wasn't there. She wasn't spawning, she wasn't at the actual entrance. I'm pretty sure she's meant to be all the time. However, I think also that it might actually only trigger the spawn mother to actually appear when you exit out of the cave after getting the artifacts. Now, I haven't got that confirmed. I'm still delving into it. But I ended up going and exploring all through the caves, and then when I came out, the Broodmother was there. So the cave is an instance. It does basically teleport you to a dungeon, so you're not necessarily going to be able to go through the caves. Don't think so. So don't worry too much. It is like a normal cave that you're used to going into, but there is a hell of a lot of creatures and enemies. It's a really big, long, winding network, and some of them go to dead ends. Again, I don't know if there was meant to be loot drops, but when I played it, some of these areas were just completely dead, nothing in them as well. At the beginning, it seemed pretty okay. It seemed like there weren't going to be too many creatures or enemies. You can take some creatures down here, but there are going to be points, particularly where you go and get the artifacts, where you can't go in there with creatures. You've got to crawl to get underneath. It's also very advisable that you obviously bring lots of healing items and anything that stops any toxic gases. You can't really go wrong at this point. You're just following the path all the way down, trying to find a junction where you're going to branch off. Like I said, it gets really dark. This isn't going to be a full 100% step-by-step tutorial. I still want to work out a few bits and bobs why some stuff seems to be not spawning and why the Broodmother only appeared when I came out. But I want it to give you a little bit of a heads up of what to expect. Obviously, I am cheating and I'm running through it. So keep going through. It goes vertical, it goes water. You're going to have to jump in water and do a little bit of swimming. A very small amount, but only, you know, it is in there as well. There's just so much going on with these caves. So many creatures. It's going to be really difficult. You could probably take, like I said, a dinosaur in here, something like a small mount. It's going to help you massively. But there does come a section where you are going to just have to fight through absolute bunches of creatures with just whatever weapons you've got to hand. Rule of thumb though, always head down and you'll eventually come to an entranceway. They kind of lead onto themselves as well. You can see this is the water that we're going to have to go underneath. So we go through here. There's silica pearls and stuff like that. Not too many other resources. I didn't see a huge amount of metal or obsidian or anything like that. Maybe a little bit of crystal. But swim through here. It's not the world's biggest one. And then you should be able to rise and you should be able to get onto the next part of the cave. It's really cool that they're adding more caves. It does give us all something to do. This was the one that is empty. I don't know if there's meant to be a loot chest here. I feel like it's probably a loot drop that's meant to spawn there, but there was nothing here. So don't necessarily go down that water. Maybe test it for yourself to see if there is one there. But if there's nothing there, you'll understand why. There must be some sort of bug or glitch, or they just decided not to put anything in it. So yeah, obviously I was getting a bit lost and confused as to why the cave didn't have any loot. I came back up and look on the right hand side. This is where you're going to crawl through the first space once you passed all of these Titan boas. This is it. Make sure you've got plenty of lights, guys. Absolutely going to need them for sure. It's got good use of some of the aberration mushrooms and lighting effects line it up, but it just seems very, very dark, like too dark. Now, when you come through here, you'll see the drop. You can pretty much drop all the way down and then go along that way, and that's where you're going to find one of the drops. But another drop is actually above you. There's a leap of faith. There is a tiny jump that you'll snake around and you'll try and do that way. So just drop down like I am, or go around the ramps, obviously, if you're not cheating like I am. Obviously, lots of Actinias in here as well. And that's the ramp that goes back up to where we just were. So I turned around and we've come back this way. You'll see the big three glowing mushrooms. That's pretty much the entrance to the next part of the cave, where hopefully you will find one of the artifacts. So this first artifact is the artifact of the immune, and then on the right hand side, just where obviously the tech glowing wall is, there's a small little cave that has got a loot drop in it. Going around here, I was trying to just see if any of this was like gatherable. It would have been cool to get some sort of spider poison or something like that. Totally leaving that in, by the way. I'm not going to edit that out. But yeah, but nothing in here. There weren't too many resources either. There are a few enemies, but not as many as in some of the other sections of the cave. So far, this is pretty normal. This isn't exactly that hard, but it's the next parts again where you've got to really go through areas. It's so long and winding. It seemed to take me forever. So there we go. Artifacted immune. Grab that one. And then from here, I just went and checked out that loot drop, like I said. There is some good loot in here. Not too many loot drops, though. I think I counted about 3, maybe, maximum. So, yeah, it's just around the corner around this rock. Again, there are some enemies. This one's only a small cave. Don't worry too much. Just run in, get the loot, and maybe just run out again. And there you go. There's the loot drop. So come completely out of that first area and just basically follow the ramps back up. Obviously, it's right above you. For point of reference, look for that loot drop. I generally actually left the loot drops as it was a good way for light and just give you a point of reference where you are. Get the loot drops as you're leaving in this area. I'm flying up a little bit, but just to show you quickly, yeah, it sort of ramps up and curves around and goes back on yourself. So keep following it up, and this is why it's hard. Just look how many enemies there are. There's absolute bunches of them. So keep going all the way around, and eventually you come all the way up to the top point. You can see I'm just flying around. That is the loot drop, and we're back to where we were. Now, if you follow this path back up, you'll come to the choice where we had the left and the right. If you take the left route, there is another loot drop that way. You'll know it. There you go. There's the entrance there on the left. So like I said, there's a loot drop in here. Go and grab that if you want. I couldn't find anything else in here. There was no other ways to go. Just lots of enemies, lots of Actinias, spiders and Arthropleura. But there's the loot drop just sitting on the bottom there. So come out of that cave with the loot drop and just keep going back up. Remember, keep going up this time. And we're going to go all the way back on ourselves, and you'll see another entrance on the right if you're coming back up. This is going to take you to the second artifact. It's really hard to get lost in here, and you just cannot see anything. They've really added that superficial black light. But right at the end here, you can see the crawl space that you're going to have to crawl under. And to the left, that is the entrance to that empty spot where you had to go under the water and find whatever was there. Maybe there will be a loot drop when you go and check, but there was nothing when I looked. And then more to the back of the cave, or to the back on the right hand side, it should be another entranceway, and this is the way that you want to take to get to the second artifact. It is confusing, guys. Like I said, I spent about an hour. I was pretty tired, that's why I didn't want to do a voiceover as I was live, because it generally means I have to edit a lot more. But here's the jump. Here's what you can see. There's the mushrooms, like I said, over the great big gap. Jump that if you can. You should be able to do it. I think if your character's leveled up a little bit, you should be able to. Obviously I'm flying, and there's the entranceway there. And that will take you into the second chamber with the second artifact. This one is the artifact of the strong. So this is the 2 artifacts. If there's any more in this cave, please let me know. But I couldn't find any more artifacts. I was pretty sure there was only 2. I couldn't find any more entrances, any more extra caverns or openings, so I just started exiting out. Always go up and you should find the exit out point. And that's when I ran into Shelob, otherwise known as the Broodmother. I've got a real feeling she only spawns when you've completed it as a challenge. It's level 20 Broodmother, so not the world's worst spider boss. I went and got my Deinonychus just to see if I could latch onto it and just try and get some stats about the Broodmother, what kind of health it had. It's got some massive health pool of 388,800. Obviously that's quite large. I don't think I was really going to be doing it with just my level 160 Deinonychus. I am in ghost mode and leave me alone mode, so they don't really attack you. I tried taking it off just to see what the combat would be like. But you've fought a Broodmother, I'm sure. If you're an ARK veteran, you don't need me to tell you how to fight one. But I did want to see if it latches on, and unfortunately it doesn't. I tried a bunch of times to get on top of it and try and get it done, but it just wouldn't happen. It just weren't going to latch on. So be careful what you try and take this on with. Maybe leave your creatures up top, and if it is there when you come out of the cave, go and get them and help them finish them off, and just run away from it if you have got the 2 artifacts, rather than risk dying and losing them. Or if I'm wrong and it does always just spawn there, it's always just walking around, or you can take pot shots at it from the top of the caves. So either way, it's going to be a viable method. I got fed up of trying to take it on with just my measly little Deinonychus, so I went and got my souped up Griffin, and we took care of it pretty much no problem. You'll get the hologram for killing it and defeating it, but you don't get any flags, which is a bit of rubbish really. I thought at least they'd give you something that you could use if you wanted in your build spots, but I guess you're going to have to just get them from other maps, and there you go. The 4 guardians of the Valguero map, they are all on here. The spider, the dragon, the manticore and the megapithecus. I will get 100% confirmation of whether or not the Broodmother spawns before or after you enter the cave, and I will redo this in a proper test run, probably doing it together with all of the artifacts in one quick go. So make sure for guys like these you've got notifications on, come and watch my live streams, and if you want to come play on my server, PC, come and join. I'll also be setting up Xbox and PS4 servers as well. Until next time, Ratbags, laters.